German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is set to visit Joe Biden at the White House today. The two leaders are meeting privately and are expected to discuss the war in Ukraine. Also on the agenda is the future of NATO, along with concerns that China could supply weapons to Moscow. And for more on this, I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. So, Philip, why is this visit taking place at this moment in time?
So I think there are several reasons that can underline why this meeting is happening now. First of all, it's going to be a short meeting. It's only going to last about an hour. No journalists are going to be present. There's no press conference with Joe Biden. This is just a coming together of two leaders to try to hammer out responses to certain questions and hammer out several differences between them. First of all, the common responses. I think, as you were saying, the underlining question is, what is the EU's response going to be if the US decides to introduce sanctions on China, if China starts delivering weapons to Russia? The United States wants to know if the EU, and in particular Germany, are going to come on board, if that is an eventuality. I think the second one is they're going to be an exchange of notes about their independent meetings with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky about what the way forward is on the war in Ukraine, how the West, notably the European Union and the United States, can come together closer over what the strategy is, over what the best strategy is in the face of shifting sands, really, as far as the international community is concerned with the war in Ukraine. So I think those are the two main issues. There's also a bone of contention as far as Germany is concerned with the Inflation Reduction Act in the United States, which Germany and France perceive as being penalizing European industry. So all of those will be on the table. But there is another fact, and that is that Germany and the United States don't see eye to eye, for example, on several issues, notably over the tank issue recently, sending tanks to Ukraine, where Germany is perceived to have demanded that the US send their Abrams tanks first of all, but the US is saying that that's not the case. So there are discussions that need to be sorted out, and also the visit last year by Olaf Scholz to China individually without other members of the European Union to talk with Xi Jinping also irked tensions, I think, in not only the United States but also amongst other members of the European Union.
Two other issues on the agenda: the implementation of Olaf Scholz's 100 billion euro plan to rebuild Germany's armed forces, and also Ukraine's possible membership in NATO.
Well, there's irritation and frustration in the United States over the way that Germany is attempting to rebuild its military. This is something that was absolutely not on the table a year ago when Olaf Scholz first went to Berlin. But of course now, it's since the war in Ukraine, Germany is pledging to put forward 100 billion euros to rebuild its military, but so far it's only promised 30 billion for the construction of nuclear-capable aircraft and helicopters, which were already on order before the war in Ukraine took place. So the United States is saying, well, you've got to come along and give us more money as far as all of this is concerned. And I think there's also frustration in the US that Germany has not respected NATO's 2% spending that is required on the military. It's only decided for the moment to spend just over 1.4%. That's way behind Poland, for example, which is on 3%. And that also explains why Joe Biden sees Poland as maybe a closer ally to the United States than Germany now, and why Joe Biden has been twice to Poland in the last year, but only once to Germany. And then as far as becoming a member of NATO is concerned for Ukraine, I think there is some consensus on that, but not really on how that is going to happen, because although the Baltic states and Poland want that to be pretty quick, there is a certain degree of apprehension about how that would go down with Russia, and it may even exacerbate the war in Ukraine. So Germany and France are a little bit more reticent.
Okay, International Affairs Editor Philip Turle. Philip, thanks as always.